Good day. This is Letitia with Soul Spread Wisdom, and I am here with some fresh bread. I am talking today about unblocking the path to achieving your life's purpose. And I am talking about reprogramming the mind in order to be able to do so. I am using esoteric knowledge and information that is found in the Qabalistic information. I'm using the Qabalistic Tree of Life, some of the books that I am using for this information and that you can also use. One is the Sefer Yetzirah, which is the book of formation, the book of creation in theory and practice. And this is by R.A. Kaplan. First name is spelled A-R-Y-E-H, Kaplan, K-A-P-L-A-N. Also, the Mystical Qabalah by Dion Fortune. And, of course, I'm using the Qabalistic Tree of Life. Now, I do want to note that all of these books and all of this information is information that was originally given to the Black Sibyls or the first prophetesses of Mami Wata. There is a book that is written by Mama Zogbe, Z-O-G-B-E, and that is the Sibyls, the first prophetesses of Mami Wata. And in this book, she explains how the ancient knowledge that you find in the Qabalah and in the Kabbalion and in other esoteric systems, Hermeticism and so forth, how these knowledges were stolen from the Black women, the Black prophetesses, the Black Sibyls, and it appeared in other books and knowledge that has been offered up and portrayed as something that has come from the Greeks or the Romans or other non-Blacks. But we know that this information was given to us by the Great Mother, who provided this information to her daughters to share with others who had come for help. So having said that, I'm going to list all of the titles of these books, including the one that can show you how this information was stolen. This is just one source. There is a YouTuber, and her channel, her name is Adunola, and she is a Yoruba priestess. And she has, the name of her channel is Connecting Guides and Spirits. I think that's the name of it, Connecting Guides and Spirits. But she has a video with a beautiful breakdown of how the knowledge was stolen from the Great Mother, the prophetesses, and the priestesses. And it was assimilated, it was stolen, and it was claimed by those who did not write the information. So as I presented, I want to make sure that I acknowledge that this high wisdom, this esoteric knowledge does indeed come from the Great Mother. And so as I share it today, I do that in honor of the Great Mother. So as we said, unblocking the path to achieving your life's purpose. We are talking about reprogramming the mind. As I present this information, again, I am looking to the Qabalistic Tree of Life. If you are familiar with it, or if you are not familiar with it, I am just looking at the bottom triangle and how we work our way up into higher knowledge, which affects our spirit, our spiritual body, as well as our physical body. All right. So having clarity of sight is key to embarking upon and staying on the path to which you chose before you incarnated. More and more people are being drawn to astrology to examine the blueprint for this life, which is a very powerful and brilliant way to determine your direction. However, many understand the concepts of the North Node placements, the sign and house energy, and many understand the moon placement and Venus natally, yet they are unable to consistently walk the path that they chose and which feels right. Most begin on the path and find that they fall back into states of confusion, and before long, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years have passed, and the same cycle continues. It is because there is a lack of clarity about the path. The sight is blurred. The vision is skewed. When we talk about clarity of sight, we are speaking of the physical and spiritual sight. In order to walk your path, there is a requirement for you to have enough light coming through your retina for you to be able to know how to walk and where to walk. This sight and light begin in the natural, which is linked to the physical, as above, so below, as within, so without. Regardless of what our individual paths are, we all want to achieve victory. In order to do this, there are necessary changes that must be made in order for us to receive enough light in the physical that it is transmuted into the spiritual, being that we are in this human experience. What does that mean? Yes, we are in the physical body, but we are spirit having a human experience. In order to accomplish victory, we must properly care for our spirits. We cannot simply quote affirmations. We must be committed to nurturing the soul. Nurturing of the soul happens through dedicated physical/human decisions that lead to an empowerment of the soul that brings victory to you, that will be seen externally as well as internally. As within, so without. What we experience in the physical realm creates strong belief systems about even the possibility of achieving victory or following our paths. Decisions we make with our physical bodies affect our ability to walk our paths and to achieve the victory that we know on a soul level we are destined to have. I want to talk about some keys and some key areas that affect our ability to walk our destined path and to achieve victory. The first key to gain clarity of sight and to put us on the path to victory is connecting with our ancestors. Our ancestors are our bones that hold up the structure. There is no movement without them. Without the support of the ancestors, the structure is not solid or secured. We stand on the shoulders of those of our bloodline who have come before us. It is critical to build a relationship with our elevated ancestors who love us. We have been indoctrinated to abandon our ancestors, and this is a large reason for the family systems that have fallen apart within the African American community and those who are a part of the diaspora. It is a part of our lineage to honor those who have come before us. This traditional belief was beaten out of us during the years of the transatlantic slave trade, and we were told that this practice was evil. But it is in giving reverence and paying homage to those that nourished us or who nourished us and care for us that enable us to see ourselves clearly. Our ancestors are a part of our DNA. They are within us. They speak to us from within and sometimes from without. It is your ancestors who love you, who will help you know if you are going the right direction at the right time. They will speak to you via dream, through the sight of a butterfly, through a type of car or a telephone number that rings a bell for you. They love you and will bend over backwards and work constantly to make sure you achieve your soul's assignment in this life. As you commune with them, it strengthens them in order for them to strengthen you. It is a relationship that is supportive, mutual, and beautiful. As you commune with your ancestors, they will lighten the load of concern you have as they give you guidance. They will help you know what to eat, help you to walk your path to victory. They will know the best colors for you to wear. They will help you on your journey. They will warn you about people who may hinder you from achieving victory. They can heal broken relationships in your family. Communing with your ancestors is simple. All you need is a small table or even a TV tray. You want to consecrate it with Florida water or sage smoke. You can put it next to a wall in a separate room from where you sleep. If you don't have enough room to put the ancestor altar in a separate room, you can put it in a closet while you are changing clothes or being intimate with a partner out of respect for your elders. You can also get a divider or a curtain that will separate where the ancestor altar is and where you sleep and where you would be changing clothes. You, at any time, when you are naked, the ancestors, the spirits, of course, they can see you. Of course, right? Because the spirits can move about as they so please. But you want to, just out of respect, just like you would for your elders, your grandmother or your great grandmother, you wouldn't want to be having sex in front of them, or you wouldn't want to be naked in front of them. But they are around you as your support. But again, this is an act of honor and respect that will establish the relationship nicely. It is very important that your space is clean. Good, wholesome, loving spirits of light cannot operate where there is chaos and disorder. You can also smudge the area, the room, with sage. And then you will keep your, where you keep the ancestor altar, you want to smudge and sage and just keep the air spiritually cleansed. Clean, regular cleaning, and then spiritually cleansed. Once you have your clean space and the table that has been consecrated for the ancestors, you can cover it with a white cloth. It does not have to be fancy. It just needs to be clean. The color white elevates and lifts the ancestors. It helps them release pains and burdens and traumas that they experienced here in the earthly realm as they live their lives. After you have covered the table with the white cloth, you can add a small white candle. I prefer those in the glass as they are more safe from fire hazards. You can add a clear glass of water, and those are the basic things that are needed. If you would like, you can add a picture of your loved one who has passed away to help you connect with them as you sit at your altar. You want to make sure that the picture does not have a picture of the person who has passed away connected with a picture of a person who is still living. So if you have taken a picture with your uncle and he has passed away, on the ancestor altar, before you put it there, you want to cut yourself out of the picture because you don't want to have the living with the dead on the ancestor altar. Okay? It's not a good thing. For your own protection, for the protection of the person who is still living. You don't want to have the living on a picture with the person that's passed away on the ancestor altar. If you don't have a picture, If there's no picture available, you can write down the names on a piece of paper of your loved one who has passed away and leave it on the ancestor altar. You can also put it in a frame if you would like, or you can just lay it on the altar. Only add the names and pictures of people you know that loved you while they were alive. For those ancestors who you are unaware of their names, you can write to all elevated ancestors, known and unknown, who love me. So if you know that you had an issue with the person, there was some tension between you while they were in the land of the living, you don't want to add that person's picture or name to your ancestor altar, because the tension may still remain with that entity, with their energy, with their spirit, even though they have passed on into the spirit realm. Okay. And so when you sit in front of your altar, you can read this statement about your elevated ancestors, known and unknown, who love you, and then call out the names of the ancestors that you know that love you. Call out their names and greet them. So you want to greet them and you want to talk to them. And you want to share things. Just sit, 5 minutes and just share. You greet them. Good morning, good evening. I was thinking about you. I love you. Thank you for your support. You always want to go with thanksgiving and gratitude, because those energies are so powerful. The energy of gratitude and thanksgiving is such a powerful energy. You offer that to your ancestors and it will help them elevate, along with the light from the candle and the water. It will help them elevate. You can also add, have a plate that is dedicated to the ancestor. That glass is dedicated also to the ancestor altar. You don't want to take that which is from the ancestor altar and put it back in the cabinet and then eat your food from the living off of that which has been dedicated to the dead, to the ancestors. Okay. So you want to have that dedicated plate, and you just offer little bits of food. If you are having some food, you want to offer them some food, and just leave it on the altar. And they don't eat the food; they take the energy. Because everything has an energy, right? Because energy is never lost or destroyed. So everything has a particular energy associated with it. So if there is food that your ancestors liked while they were alive, you can place bits of that food on the altar and it will strengthen their energy. The energy from that food will strengthen them and help them to elevate and to be able to do more for you, to be able to elevate higher. And as they elevate, you elevate. As their energy heals, it benefits you, because then you heal, because they are part of your DNA. So, and this is a simple way for you to get started. You can speak to your ancestors regarding any area of your life, and they will help you on this path. It brings them joy to do so. And after you have set up your ancestor altar and begin honoring them by speaking to them, sharing some love and light and water and some small amounts of food if you so choose, if you are meant or destined to work with the Orisha, the ancestors will make it clear and direct you that way. It is dangerous to begin working with or calling on or serving a deity, setting up a shrine or an altar for a deity of any pantheon without the express direction of your ancestors who love you. Your ancestors will protect you from being deceived and even hurt. Now, when we talk about the ancestors, for those of you who know or understand the Qabalistic Tree of Life, if you you can Google it and you can come up with the image of the Qabalah and the Tree of Life. At the very bottom, you'll see Malkuth of the Sephiroth. So there are 10 Sephiroth, here on this tree of life. So at the very bottom, we have Malkuth, which is the earthly realm. And you can see that there is a veil over it, which keeps you from seeing what is going on in the spirit realm. It is like the Neptunian fog, for those of you who understand astrology, where Neptune can add a fog so that your eyes don't see clearly. And this veil on Malkuth, the earthly realm, which we operate, can cause you to think that there is nothing more to life than what we see. And this veil is called the veil of the profane. And there it is called, the kingdom of earth. It is the 10th Sephiroth, Malkuth, and it is at the bottom. At the very top is crystalline light, and it is Kether. And so it is our job, if we want to elevate, if we want to have victory, if we want to be able to achieve the highest, it is our responsibility to first know that there is more than what we are seeing on a day-to-day basis. That the things that are just before us in the natural are just a very simple manifestation of what is below, because as above, so below. So there is a higher mirror image in the ethers, in the spirit realm, of what it is that we are seeing below. So as we came and we entered into the earthly realm, we came through this veil of the profane, and there was a veil that was placed over our eyes so that we would not remember what it is that our path and our assignment is. But we have the opportunity to return to it as we go up the tree of life. So it is our goal to ascend, for us to elevate, as we talked about the ancestors elevating. It is our goal to elevate and to go back up. As we came down from crystalline light into this body and with this soul, as we talked about, I published my last podcast, I talked about the Emerald Tablet and talked about this idea of as above, so below. So it is our responsibility for ourselves, in order to walk our path for which we are assigned to do in this earthly realm. It is our responsibility to understand that anything, in order for anything, for us to manifest anything from the spirit realm down into the earth realm. So, during the new moon, we write our petitions, or people who work candle magic, you write your petition and so forth. But the understanding of that is that in order for anything, according to the knowledge of the Emerald Tablet, in order for us to be able to draw down anything from the spiritual realm into earthly manifestation, there needs to be a connection with the physical. So even as we light that candle, that fire, the spirit of fire, in order for it to burn, it has to connect with the physicality, or the physical nature, or the earth nature, the earth material of the wax and the wick, in order for that spiritual element of fire to be able to climb the ladder and make its way up to spirit, to the spirit realm, for the words that you have released in that petition, the power of those words, to be able to make their way up the ladder into the spirit realm, to be able to bring down into manifestation what it is that you have called forth. Now, to be able to do that, there has to be an understanding that again, you are a spiritual being, having an earthly manifestation. It is the coming together. You are the coming together of spirit and earth. You are the coming together of that. And in order for you to walk your path and to have victory, and for you to be able to manifest the things that it is that you have dreamt about, that you know within your soul that you are supposed to have, there has to be an understanding that you are, as a spirit being, connecting with spirit to bring what it is down into the earthly realm. So there is a connection with the physical as it relates to you being able to even see into the spiritual realm. So as we talked about the ancestors, when we look at this tree of life and we make our way up, which we are destined to ascend. When we make our way up this tree, on the right side, the path of the 32 paths, is 32 because we count the 10 Sephiroth. It's 22 actual paths to the Sephiroth, and then the Sephiroth themselves make 10. And as you look at the tree of life, as you are listening to this, or later on after you have listened to this, then you will see it will make more sense as to what I am saying. On the left side, on the right side, up from Malkuth. So this is the path upward. So there is the physical side, and then there is the spiritual side that run parallel to each other, making their way upward in order for you to receive splendor and victory. So we have to make our way up from Malkuth, which is this earthly realm hidden under the veil of the profane. And the first step up, again, is connecting with the ancestors. We see the symbology of Pisces there. And Pisces, of course, represents the end. It represents the connection between the spirit realm and the natural realm. It represents a portal, a bridge to the spirit realm. And it is first there that we see the symbology. Here we see the Hebrew letter that represents the back of the head, called Kof. And that is right above the symbol of Pisces. And the ancestors sit at the back of the head. And this is what we understand from African traditional religion, from Ifa, Yorubaland, Santeria. We understand that the ancestors sit at the back of the head. The ancestors are the eyes at the back of your head. They are able to see what you cannot see behind you. They are able to see for you in the spirit realm. We're talking about this Pisces path, this Piscean path to the spirit. And this is your first connection that you need in order to be able to ascend in the spirit realm. And from there, on the parallel, once you have done that, then you can begin to make your way up beyond the veil of the profane. The next step that we have on the physical realm, when we look at this, we see that there is the upward triangle showing us that this is fire. Again, separating fire from earth. So this triangle here represents fire. And it is fire that is leaving the earth, giving movement upward. And then the first symbol and Hebrew alphabet that we see there is Shin. And Shin is a mother letter. It is a mother letter that gives birth. Things are birthed through the mother. So Shin is tooth. So it then explains that in order for us, the information that we are receiving that is a part of programming us is tied to what it is that we eat. Okay. So again, the first step up out of Malkuth, out of above the veil of the profane, in order to receive higher knowledge, in order to elevate so that we can walk our path and achieve victory, is to connect with the ancestors, okay? Because they have the sight for us. And then we have upward movement, which is fire. And then we come to Shin, which is the tooth, which represents what it is that we are eating, the types of food. So reprogramming of the mind comes from changing our relationship with food. There are beliefs that are deep within your subconscious mind that drive your relationships with food and money and God, mother, father, work, children, in every area you could mention. Until the subconscious beliefs are transmitted, the results that you had will continue year after year. In order to reprogram the mind, which was programmed from birth to the age of 7, you have to first take an honest look at your life and admit what has not been working. After identifying what has not been working and not acknowledge what you do want, acknowledge how you want a specific area of your life to look. Once you have identified this area or areas, bring it to your ancestors for their help, and they will begin to guide you on specific things that need to change in order for you to see victory in your life and on your assigned path. Again, one of those first areas that often needs to be overhauled after the spiritual is the food that we eat. And you may ask, how is food tied to me walking my path and moving towards victory? So we have, as a community, eaten food as a part of our culture that is low vibrating, meaning that there is a low energy associated with the foods that we eat. It is filled with fear, sadness, rejection, loneliness, and abuse. And you may ask, how can that be? You were talking about food. What do you mean? Typically, in the diaspora, we eat chicken and pork and beef. And these animals are often ripped away from their mothers or their other kin and are mistreated during the raising process as they are preparing these foods to be slaughtered, preparing these animals to be slaughtered for fast food restaurants or even the grocery store. You know, these animals, there's a mass production of these animals, and they are being thoroughly mistreated and mishandled oftentimes, and there is an inhumane way that they are slaughtered. And it has been proven time and again that these animals have feelings and emotions. And those feelings and emotions are energy. The law of thermodynamics teaches us that energy can neither be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or changed from one form to another. When you eat that flesh of that animal, the energies become one with you, and you are what you eat. The foods that are often provided for the children of the diaspora are the foods that keep us addicted to confusion and sadness and disparity. In the book of Daniel in the Bible, there is an example given that most children of the diaspora have heard hundreds of times. When Daniel was captured by Nebuchadnezzar, he was given the choice to eat the meat and wine of the king, and he opted out of that and requested vegetables and water. And it wasn't just Daniel. I think there were 2 other Hebrew boys that were a part of this. And in 21 days, They gave him an opportunity. Okay, for 21 days you can eat the vegetables and drink the water, and we will see who looks better. The boys who eat the meat and wine of the king, or the boys who eat the vegetables and the water. And in 21 days, the Hebrew boys who ate the vegetables and the water, their skin looked clearer and cleaner, and their face were more fleshy and full of life and light. And the boys who had eaten the king's meat, their color was not as good. They didn't look as healthy, and they weren't as vibrant. And Daniel was able to hear clearly from spirit. One of the keys was that he chose to eat clean, living foods that would lift him or elevate him, as opposed to what appeared to be socially better. And of course, we know Daniel was able to hear lots of prophetic utterances. And in order to hear clearly from spirit, it is important that the food that goes into the body is living food, and that has a beautiful living energy. Now, this is a powerful tool if you are serious about walking your path and being victorious. Changing your diet to clean living food will allow you to reprogram your mind more easily for success, because you will have those beautiful clean energies spreading throughout your nervous system and your brain, which will help you see and think more clearly. I was reading yesterday a study done by Harvard University about the connection between the brain and the gut. So during this study, they found that emotions, trauma and pain are linked to the gut and transmitted to the brain. So this study, when you feel pain and when you feel fear, you get, like they said, the butterflies in your stomach, or you cringe when you feel fear. It starts in the gut, and it transmits this message to the brain. And so the nervous system that is linked to from the brain to the gut is very significant. So the energies that are going into the gut from the food that you intake are being transmitted to the brain. So if in fact you are intaking these energies from the animals who have been abused, stripped away from their mothers. My daughter was talking to me as she was reading about veal, which is a baby calf, and how here in the United States, how they raise veal. And veal is something that is supposed to be, a very sought after meal. It's very expensive. It's supposed to be something that, the elite love to eat. But as she read this story to me, it revealed that these baby calves are stripped from their mother and fed a partially natural, a diet of milk and some other things that they put or feed the calf to fatten the calf up. And the calf is put in a stall and is not able to move and is fattened up so much that he does not walk on his legs. He just lays on his side. And he is left there for 3 months in that condition, and then he is taken to slaughter. Now, it has been noted that these animals have emotions and have feelings. So the emotions of that calf, of a rejection and being stripped away, and that feeling of abandonment and fear, and the pain of its muscles not being able to move about and to grow in a natural, strong way, is not lost. That energy that has become a part of that calf is not lost, because energy is neither lost or destroyed. It is just transferred. It is transferred into you when you eat that. And so when that animal is slaughtered and that is presented, it is presented as this is something that is wonderful to intake. And it tastes wonderful. The meat of it tastes wonderful, but it is the king's meat. Because where you are thinking that you are intaking something that is luxurious, it is leading to more blindness, because you cannot elevate higher into the spirit realm and walk your path towards victory if into your gut is an intake of energy of fear and rejection and abandonment and pain, because that is being transmitted into your brain, which of course is connected to your higher self. It's called crown chakra in the African traditional religions, from Yoruba, Ifa, Santeria, Condomble. It's called the Ori. If you are connecting to these foods on a regular basis, it is causing you not to be able to see clearly. And it is causing you not to be able to hear clearly from your ancestors. Because again, the path upward, as we see on this tree of life, the first thing that is addressed in the physical realm, as far as upward movement, is what you eat, what you are putting into your stomach. So when the gut is connected with fresh spinach and fresh carrots and beetroots and flaxseed and fresh water, the energies of those are healing and nurturing and the life-giving, raised by Mother Earth, the energy that is reaching upward to the sun, upward to the light of consciousness, to opening the consciousness. So as the energy of those life-giving foods are flowing, it's into the gut, it is cleansing out. It cleanses out fear. It cleanses out trauma, the repressed trauma that you could be holding on to is cleansed and passed out of the system. And the more that you intake that, the more light of consciousness you are receiving into the body. And as these energies are cleared out, then you are able to release fear and trauma that has been stored in the gut and has caused instability and fear to affect your brain tissue, your brain waves. So years ago, I went to the corner store in a predominantly Black neighborhood in which I lived and still do live. I don't live in that neighborhood, but I live in a predominantly Black neighborhood. Now, this corner store had a little cook in the back. And here you can get fried chicken wings and sausage and nachos, burgers, pork chop sandwiches, all the things that the children of the diaspora in North America have been programmed to eat growing up. And I asked the store owner, who was, of course, a non-Black, because most of the store owners, of the corner store are people from different cultures. And so he was actually Iranian. And I asked him if he ever ate any of this food. And he said no. He was a Muslim. And they own most of the corner stores in the hood in Dallas. Now, the Muslims eat meat that is called halal meat. And that means that they raise the animal with gentility and care. They say prayers over the animal. They feed it a nourishing diet. They have it in a place where it is cared for and it feels safe. And the energy that is going into that animal is one that cause that animal to feel secure and safe and loved and protected. And when that animal is slaughtered, it is done so humanely so that the animal does not feel the pain of death. So when they slaughter, let's say, for instance, they slaughter a chicken in the halal, this is halal and kosher foods. And when we talk about kosher foods, we are talking about the Jewish people. So that chicken, when they killed that chicken, they quickly slit the neck so that that major artery is slit so that there is no information of pain transferred to the brain, so that that energy of fear and pain will not be in the meat, because they understand that if fear and pain is in the meat, it will be transferred to them as they eat it. So with that knowledge, and we think about the Jewish people with the kosher foods and the kosher meat, it's the same thing. They raise the animals the same way. And kosher is more strict. So they don't eat various, they don't eat shellfish and so forth. And neither the Muslims nor the Jews eat pork, because they understand that this is an animal that the energy of it is low. The energy in the pork is low, in the meat is low, because of how the animal acts. Like the only purpose that the animal has is to eat. So with that, there is an understanding. They understand that the energy that they are putting into their body is important. It is important because they understand that it is going to affect how they move in the world, their ability to move upward in the world, their ability to achieve victory and leadership in the world. So this affects having a clear mindset. What we are eating, of course, we talked about the gut and the brain connection. It has to do with a clear mindset of a leader. Because when we eat these foods of the animals that have been tortured and ripped away from their mothers and have been unnaturally raised and not raised with blessings and love, when we eat those foods, it causes us to have instability and unclear minds. In addition, we are often prone to overeating as a way to deal with emotional pain, or we will eat with little regard for the body and how it taxes the system. Eating 2 life-giving meals a day will allow the gut to function more easily, allowing the brain to have more energy to work and to create. Once the diet is regulated, bringing it into balance, the emotions will thereby come into balance. Fear and emotional pain that has been trapped in the gut can be more easily cleared. So I want to end on that note. I'm going to continue on as I climb up the different paths, looking at the Qabalistic Tree of Life. And so that's the only point I want to make. I will continue on talking about sight, talking about words that are said, talking about, what it is that we are looking at and so forth as we continue on up. And so this is already at 49 minutes, and I think that is enough to digest for today. But again, I want to reiterate that it is our goal to move ourselves into leadership, move ourselves into the paths that we have been called to do, what it is our souls have incarnated to do. That is what we must do in this hour. We must take back what has been stolen from us. And the only way to do that, again, is to go back to the drawing board, go back to the map. And the map is here in these ancient texts that the Great Mother provided to her children, which again were stolen and used by other people to get on top. And so as we go back to this pivotal information, it can help us get back into the place where we should be, where we should never have fallen from. And so we take ourselves back up by using the knowledge and the wisdom that Great Mother has given us. I thank you for listening. Again, I'm LateeshaHinton, and have a blessed day.